Welcome, young scientists, to the amazing world of plants. Today, we are diving into a fascinating process called the light-dependent reaction.
But first, let's understand what photosynthesis is. Do you see all those plants outside? Well, they actually make their own food with a process called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a word that comes from the Latin language, where photo means light, and synthesis means to put together. So photosynthesis means putting together with the help of light. If you didn't know, all living things are made up of cells, the smallest unit of life. There are many types of cells, but photosynthesis happens in a specific type, only in plant cells. Our main focus for today is inside the plant cell, the chloroplast. Picture the chloroplast as a tiny house with a special room called the thylakoid membrane. Inside the walls of the room, there's a green machine called chlorophyll, which acts as a sun catcher. When sunlight meets the chlorophyll, it starts the amazing process of turning sunlight into energy. This energy powers the plant to make food and create fresh oxygen for us, all happening inside the walls of the superhero room in the plant's tiny house called the chloroplast. And they use the process light-dependent reaction to do this.
Now, onto light-dependent reactions. This is where the magic happens. These light-dependent reactions are like power-up for plants. Imagine a plant soaking up sunshine to make its own food. Well, in this process, plants use sunlight to turn water and carbon dioxide into sugar, which is their food, and oxygen. But before they can do that, they have to go through a system with a bunch of things. For example, proteins. This happens in tiny plant parts called chloroplasts, where special machines called photosystem 1 and photosystem 2 catch sunlight and start a fantastic chain reaction.
Let's talk about photosystem 2 first. You might be wondering, why is photosystem 2 first? This is because it was discovered after photosystem 1, but scientists later found out that it actually comes first in the system. As sunlight hits photosystem 2, it turns water into oxygen by taking an electron away from the water. The sunlight energy makes electrons extra excited, which means it gains energy. That will start a chain reaction along the electron transport chain.
The electrons then move out away from the photosystem 2. Throughout the electron transport chain, the photosystem 2 misses electrons. So to make this up for the missing electrons, we need to split water into tiny parts to make something amazing: oxygen. This is because water is made of 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen atoms, and the thing keeping the hydrogen and the oxygen together are electron energy change, which is given to photosystem 2.
For the electron transport chain, imagine a train carrying tiny, superpowered passengers called electrons. In the electron transport chain, these electron passengers zoom through a special pathway inside the plant. As they travel, they pass energy to each other, like sharing a fantastic sparkly gift. So think of it like a busy energy sharing train journey that ends with gifts of fresh air for everyone.
As the electrons move, they also pump hydrogen molecules that was broken up from before. These hydrogen things are like the riders on a seesaw. When sunlight makes the superhero system in the plant excited, the seesaw starts tipping over. The hydrogen rides up high on one side of the seesaw because they have lots of energy now, while the other side doesn't have many hydrogen riders because they lost their energy. This creates a special situation where there are more hydrogen riders on one side and fewer on the other.
Well, that's not fair. One side has more hydrogen than the other. It needs to be balanced, so a spinning machine called the ATP synthase helps bring hydrogens to the other side. While hydrogen moves to the other side, it pushes the ATP synthase and spin it. The spinning causes ADP and phosphate to be pushed together and create a special energy molecule called ATP. like how you add cheese to tortillas to make quesadillas, or how water turbines will spin to create energy from water movement. And where do ATP and phosphate come from? When ATP or energy is used up, it breaks apart into ADP and phosphate again to redo the synthase cycle.
Now back to the traveling electrons. When they reach the end of the third transport chain, they go to photosystem 1, and when they reach it, they absorb light and get excited again. Then they move on to the next transport chain. However, while the electrons travel this time, they attract something called an ADP+. When they attract an ADP+, they also attract hydrogen molecules, and those two merge together become NADPH. And this NADPH then become electrons carrier that helps bring electrons to the next station of the photosynthesis process. But throughout the whole process, from the very start to the end, it's like the electrons are on a roller coaster. It starts off at the ground level and then gets bumped up to the high level or high energy level during photosystem 2. Then during the third transport chain, it goes downhill or the energy level goes down by a little. Then when it hits photosystem 1, it goes up another bump and higher energy level. And when it goes through the second transport chain, it goes down again.
And that's where the light-dependent reaction ends and the electrons move on to another part.
In conclusion, the light-dependent reactions are like the powertrain station for plants, converting light energy to usable energy whilst also giving us the oxygen we breathe. Keep exploring the wonders of science, and remember, plants are nature's superheroes. And thanks to the photosynthesis today. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Peel the avocado.